This is now. This is follow up on part one, the first thing on the first ever YouTube on the problems and the repairs for reglazing a windshield. This is Brent with Bob, and I intend here to go through the glass. Check the glass out for fit, show you how I intend to mount the glass, and look over the materials that are needed. So first thing I want to do is show you the glass that I got. And this glass is second-hand glass, but it came out of a working car. I think actually the glass has got some defects in it, but for what I want, it's going to work just fine. And it's actually a tinted glass. It's not the clear stuff. And I put some dimensions on it and showed so that I could sketch it. I want to save a pattern of it. And my intention is to use this, go to the glass shop, if it fits properly, use this as a template and get a couple of clear glass blanks cut. This is 1/4 inch thick. I checked it with micrometer. 7/32 is the correct original dimension, but I believe that 1/4 inch is going to work fine with the thinner embedding material that you use to set it. It's 42 7/8 across the bottom arch. 42 7/8. The center line is down the middle here, and it's 12 inches from top to bottom. So half of 42 7/8 is 21 7/16, and that's important when we check. We would check for if it's one side matches the other contour. The bottom, actually the top of the frame is a different dimension. It's 43 5/8 from edge to edge, and that makes 21 13/16 from to the center line. I got this from a fella up by Placerville, and it came out of a car frame, and it's got some defects around the edge of it. So, you know, I think he unloaded it on me, but I'm going to use it for a pattern more than anything, and for a driver. So let me go to the next stage here. Now here's how I'm going to save the as a template. I took a piece. I have a piece of scrap masonite, an ink pen. I set it up. The straight edge would be the top of the glass. Try and get it as centered as possible. We're talking fractions of an inch, so this is probably good enough. This is rounded at the corners and rounded over on the edges. It's not just a flat shear cut, and that's probably to help with the sealing, but that's basically what we're looking at. I forgot one dimension. The widest edge on the sides is 13 7/8. So we've got the bottom arch is 42 7/8. The top of the windshield is 43 5/8, and the center line is 12 inches, and the edge on either side, hopefully they're the same, 13 7/8. So I'll just sketch this out and save it on something, you know, so I've got not only the blank that I'm going to use at the glass shop, but a hard copy of it, and I intend to do that for each piece that I cut for these for the glass replacements. I've got several vehicles to reglaze, but we're concentrating on this, and this is for a pickup. Okay. And I'm trying to hold the pen as close to the glass as possible. I don't think you have that much leeway in there. Talking fractions of an inch. So that's it. What I'm doing here is I made up a couple of brackets to hold the glass vertical, because when you do it, you're fitting it from using the bottom arch. A little difficult to maneuver everything, especially one guy. So I set this up on 3/4 plywood. I've got a heavy mat, a rubber mat, that'll absorb quite a bit of smashing and whatever we need to do. I have the glass, and we'll set the glass up so that it's arched the way the frame is. And then we want to test the frame, excuse me, and we'll do that without the packing, and it naturally splays out. So what I'm going to do is flip it so that I'm looking at the front of it. Okay, so now that puppy is in there, and doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but we're looking to see how well it's going to fit. This will give us, because when we're embedding it, we're going to have the packing material. It'll bind here first, and then it needs to be on no pleats. So that we embed it fairly uniformly. It'll embed to the sides, and then the top piece is separate. I don't know now whether it has to wrap all the way around as one piece or not. I suspect it does, but we'll look into that between now and the next step. But that's basically what these are for, to give you that extra pair of hands and to hold it. And I think it's going to be enough workable. I think when we get to the point where we see it's loose now, but we get to the point where we're embedding it, we need to have it fairly rigid, and then we can encourage it down with a rubber mallet or a rawhide mallet or a wooden the old hammer. So that's the top part of it. Now to check the bottom, I would imagine we just flip it. So we need to hold it without dropping it. Flip it over. And there really is no other way to do this. Now we want the frame in the slots, and it should fit down in there if it's there. Need to see it's splayed, so it needs to come down. Okay, I see a little problem here. I'm going to have to test fit this empty without the glass. So why don't we hold on to fit down in there. And I think that's going to take a clamp. Okay, we want to go back on again. All right, I did a little encouraging to try and get it to get a little tighter. Just with my meat hands here and meat cleavers, and I'm almost there. The ways I can show that is there's a hole for a screw in the faceplate on each side, and I can barely see the hole, the brace that comes down. There's a hole in there that will hold it together. I can barely see that, so I'm almost there, and I can see that we'll just tap it home, and that should suck it together. So it's basically checked for fit. The glass I think is going to be okay. I don't see any edges of the glass, and of course it's going to be raised the thickness of the embedding material up. So this stage of it is the test fit seems to be fine. The blank seems to be adequate. I'll show you the materials. That'll be the last step for today, and what I intend to use for embedding it, and then we'll stop at that point today. Okay, I wanted to show you two things. One is the hinge snaps, and the hinge seems to work adequately in place. The other thing is I had a 1/4 inch gap or so here that you remember I'm trying to fit this, and what I did mostly off camera was bang it with my hand. The rubber is going to absorb some of that shock. I'm supporting it really just at the corners in the rubber, and that should you know, you can't get real brutal with this, but I think that'll protect this from shattering. This is safety glass, but we're not hopefully going to hit the glass, so that should be it. Okay, here's the diagram of the seal for the hinge. May be useful. This frame I'm kind of using as a kind of a prototype, but maybe part of it is learning from the way it was done and trying to do it a little more the way it maybe was factory done. This one has just a plate glass in it, and it's been reglazed from what I can see. This wouldn't have been done factory, and the way it's put together, it looks to me like this frame is usable, but it's got a lot of pinholing in it, and this may have come from my pickup that came out of San Francisco, which is of course got a lot of salt, and it's amazing that it's in as good a shape as it is. So the windshield would be one of the areas that picks up that salt, and it's pitted and got some issues. So this clip that holds the seal, the windshield seal, has been compressed, and it's not totally intact. But what I'm looking at is the way this is put together. It gives me some kind of a prototype or some idea. The two sides and the bottom are one type of seal, and then the header, of course, doesn't have a seal on it here, and that would be another amount of material. And like I say, I'll get a sketch, a workable sketch that I've seen reproduced quite a few times, and it gives us an idea of the layout of the hinge, how it attaches to the header, and the layers of metal and the seal that it has or lack thereof. And the dum-dum for hopefully giving it a watertight seal would be on this hinge, which is on the bottom there. So once the embedding material is in the windshield is secure, hammered in or wedged in tightly, assembled, then one of the steps is to come in and trim the embedding material back flush with the edge of the groove that the glass and embedment holds in, so it doesn't stick out very much. And then these side pieces are attached. And I remember somewhere seeing that the corners would be 45'd and then super glued to hold the two sides together and give it a seal, kind of a half seal on the lower corners. And there isn't any mention of the top. Now, in this case, the top of this side seal is 45'd and comes up behind the hinge part of this. So that's basically what I can pull from this now. Like I said, we'll have to, as we go through these steps, we'll figure it out. One other thing I've noticed is, and there's some mention, I think, in one of the Ford Barn mentions, was the dowels or the washers for the side brackets for the there's a bracket that holds the windshield open, and those are missing on the frame, both frames that I have that I'm going to rework. So I'll have to look into how those are attached and what's available, which I will do. I hope you keep following this along, and we'll kind of work through this one step at a time. This is Brentwood Bob. Talk to you soon.